Okay, everybody, we're gonna get started. I seem to have lost, hang on one second. Okay. Is everything still good, Shannon?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome everyone to today's webinar. Today we're going to be having a casual conversation with Michael Coffey. He is one of our very first clients at Virtual Accounting Solutions. And we are going to talk about our experiences together, a little bit of a case study, some savings, and some things he'd like to point out to everybody, and start just trying to explain a little bit of how Virtual Accounting Solutions is helping our clients. Wanted to introduce myself first. My name is Kristen Burdar. I am a partner with BST and have over 25 years experience working with my clients as a CFO consultant, as well as a tax advisor, controller over the years, and really pretty much at whatever level of advising our clients need. Currently, I'm leading our Virtual Accounting Solutions division, which is within our outsourced group. So at VAS, we provide our clients outsourced accounting solutions on a virtual platform. All of our tech deck is 100% cloud-based. Our focus is to ensure that our clients really accomplish three core goals: to reduce their total costs and hassles around their financial department systems, to eliminate the errors and delays associated with traditional and manual processes, as well as to provide easy access to their company's KPIs to better help manage their businesses every day. At BST, we have an extensive outsourced services division, so I would encourage everybody to visit our website at bstco.com to learn more about them, including our HR outsourced services as well. So today we are fortunate and lucky to have Michael Coffey with us. Michael is CEO, president extraordinaire of Colorize Inc., which is a Benjamin Moore festival and decorating company. They currently have 3 locations located a little bit north of Albany in our capital district in New York, and are just 4 years old. So Michael started this company with his longtime friend Don Dutine. The two had been working together for years and had dreams of opening their own business, as many of us do. And with their expertise in world-class service model and Benjamin Moore as a backer behind them for painting supplies, they now have a reputation of being the one-stop shop in both knowledge, expertise, and supplies for all of painting and decorating needs. Mike, do you have anything you'd like to, what did I miss?
No, I think you nailed it. Maybe oversold me a little bit, but good job. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Mike, we want to kind of start off today. It's really just kind of casual to explain to everybody kind of where we're at. So tell me, why don't we kind of start from the beginning, right? Tell me a little bit about how you got where you are, how you felt leaving, your old life of being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur, and, a little bit about what was going through your head.
It feels like a lot of years ago now, but Don and I both had 20-year careers with a large Fortune 500 company, and we were pretty secure in our career path, and probably could have existed there and made it to retirement and been just fine. But both of us wanted to do something more. We had some people around us that wanted to do something more. So 2016, after probably more conversations than I care to admit, we finally got the courage to actually take the leap and jump and go to work for ourselves. So we left that big company in 2016. We didn't know anything about running our own business. We just knew our core paint and paint related products and how to sell them and how to grow a business. But the ins and outs and the functions of accounting and marketing, they were all handled in a back office somewhere. So we started our plan in 2016, opened our first store in September of that year, and tried the conventional method of QuickBooks and doing it ourselves. And after a few months of that, we quickly realized that we should stick to paint. And the rest is history, I guess.
which is a fabulous story, actually, and not unlike probably 99.9% of new businesses as they start up. So, and I know for us, right, referrals as a professional organization, providing accounting services, which is, you know, a very personal service to somebody, right? We're helping them manage their money and their finances. So there's really nothing more personal than that. Referrals are like such a great compliment for us. And so I thank you for taking the advice to call us from another client. You were referred by another client of ours. And when we, you know, when we first met, how did you know you wanted to work? You know, I mean, I know you were kind of struggling and decided you should go back to doing what you do best, which is really what we kind of tout, but how did you know that you wanted to, or come to the conclusion you wanted to work with a professional, you know, firm such as ours?
Well, I'd love to tell you that we know our limitations and have some humility about us, but those that know us would call BS on that pretty quickly. I'll be honest, at first, that first meeting and started talking ballpark costs, we were very scared. A startup and weren't sure that we had allocated the money or had the finances to bring in a professional. And we had a long discussion about trying to learn it and do it ourselves, and what would that take away from our core business and doing what we do well, and feet on the street, meeting with customers, bringing in different vendors, and just time allocated to growing what we do, versus figuring out tax codes and regulations and how to accrue for this and account for that. We quickly realized that we probably couldn't afford not to do it, because it would just slow our growth immensely had we opted not to go to a professional. So I don't know, can we mention the people that gave you the referral? I don't know, you know, the Frank Adams jewelry family gave us the referral and swore by you guys. And we had a good first meeting. And, you know, when we ultimately, again, had to take that leap, it freed us up. And what was great is your firm, VAS, took all our historical, I'll call it mess, you'd call it data, and made sense of it and helped us generate, you know, P&Ls and balance sheets basically in real time, helped us with accruing for taxes and depreciation and inventory and all those things that when you know paint and you've sold paint all your life, all that even the vocabulary, I find myself Googling a lot of the things that Kristen's talking about to get a definition on exactly what that is. But they do make it easy and well worth the investment. And we quickly overcame the fear of hiring a professional once we really got into what they can do every day.
Thank you. Those are, and yes, we can absolutely mention Frank Adams Jewelers. They are an excellent client and a great referral source for us. So we do often, you mentioned in the last, in your answer a little bit, you know, we do often market to prospects, right? That we're, you know, we're trying to get people to work on their business and not in their business, right? We want them to go out, like you said, boots on the ground, running, trying to, you know, build your contractor business, build all of those revenue generating sources for you. Do you think that, you know, VAS, like how instrumental, I guess, do you think VAS has been in allowing you guys to do that? And, you know, how many hours a week do you think potentially we've been able to save you guys by taking over, you know, all of those bill pay functions and getting the daily imports in and basically, you know, working towards a real time, you know, working with a real time financial system?
That's a good question, and we've thought about this a lot. I think you're in the range of 40 to 60 hours with how you've built our system, and we spent a little time in our initial discussions. You asked some great discovery questions that forced us to think about how many stores do we ultimately want to get to, and what do we want to look like in 5 and 10 years. And you kind of built the foundation that enables that growth very collaboratively. And now with how we've leveraged technology, whether it's some of the apps we use, whether it's Bill.com or Expensify or Box or any of those things where we can go in quickly, monitor what's going on from a inflow and outflow of cash and a P&L and a balance sheet, and really at 9 o'clock at night while I'm watching a ball game or 90 Day Fiance, don't judge me. You can really pay attention and see what's going on in your business very, very quickly with your phone, no more than just the apps on your phone. So I think with the payable system you've built for us, the inventory system I would say it's 40 to 60 hours a week easily that you freed us up to go work on our business.
And, you've been fortunate to have I say fortunate is not really the right word because you guys work very hard at it, but I think it's, almost hard to quantify, right? Like where would the business be if you didn't have that time? Or what would how exhausted would you guys be and on your 3 hours of sleep every night?
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that answer. Even we meet quarterly, we talk weekly, and just, we have a CFO, which we couldn't afford other than VAS, where you're looking out, you're giving us things that we're doing well, things that we aren't doing well, some areas of concern, some areas that, maybe we're too heavily shifted towards, mapping products and general ledger and just, it's almost like we have our own accounting back room in our company without the expense of our own accounting department. And
which is exactly what we're trying to build. So
you guys have nailed it. Yeah. And I don't think we would be at 3 stores and have the company that we have today without having made that initial decision to bring you guys in.
Well, thank you. So you talked a little bit about, being able to monitor your financials, from your couch, from wherever you are, basically, from apps or from your phone, if not from a laptop or a Surface Pro or some type of tablet. When you contracted with us, and, we really take a different approach, right? We have within our outsourcing department, we have the very traditional where we send somebody out to an office, right? How important was it for you, or how easily was it for you to embrace the cloud-based system that we have? Because, I really went back to the drawing board when I started VAS, and I said, we need to be able to operate from wherever we are, right? So whether I'm working in my home office, whether I'm working in my real office, whether I'm on the road because I'm meeting with clients, I need to be able to access all of that data. And my team needs to be able to access that data from wherever they are. And so, when we bring in softwares, without, we call it a tech deck, right? The Bill.com, Expensify, Sage Intacct is the back office and of our core solution. How important was the cloud-based functionality to you? And how important do you think the visibility is in running your business? Because it is a very, offers all of that visibility on a multi-location basis for you.
Well, if you'd asked me 4 years ago, I don't think I would have cared too much about cloud-based or any of what you just said, as far as, because what we were doing was so antiquated and I just needed someone to help me sort through it. But being able to armchair quarterback this thing or Monday morning quarterback it, I can't imagine where we would be without cloud-based and the ability to, if I'm traveling, to see, what's due for a weekly payables, what bills have come in, 3 different stores. You can be anywhere and see who's spending money, who's ordering product, who's submitting expense reports. Is there a pattern to expense reports? I mean, it's almost a half hour to an hour a night with the cloud-based system anywhere you are, especially with, I've got 3 or 4 mobile devices on me right now between an iPad, a laptop, and a phone. They're only ever an arm length away. You can go and just grab whatever information you need. I'll get requests for P&Ls from vendors or people we're trying to do business with, or creditors, and 9 o'clock at night, I'll fire it right off within minutes. And for a small business to be able to do that from anywhere, have those reports at the tip of your fingers through the Sage program, to be able to, see what employee, what expenses they've submitted over the last 3 months, and is there any pattern to them? Or, I mean, I can't rave about the cloud-based leveraging technology systems you've built and implemented into, and I know we've been a beta test for a few of these different things, and they've changed, but the end product on all of them has made our lives, both Donnie and I and our people, so much easier. And then the other piece of it is, if we see a bill come through, or a statement that we don't think is right, or someone says they didn't collect a check, we just email it to your people and say, hey, dig into why Time Water didn't get a check. And 99% of the time, it's the vendor's fault. They'll say, nope, we paid these invoices on this date, on this check number, and I don't got to spend an hour and a half digging through a checkbook or looking through to see, did the check clear? Where did it end up? I forward it to your team, and within a day tops, I've got an answer as to what happened. So it just, the freedom it provides us to do what we enjoy doing, I'm very grateful for that.
Well, thank you. I'll make sure I pass on to the team, because it is definitely a team effort, right? When we bring on somebody within our division, right, we assign, depending on the level of needs, right, everybody's assigned a payable specialist, everybody's assigned a manager to help review. We have those different levels, and no less than probably 3 people working on every account. And so it allows us to kind of leverage those different levels of expertise and to make it affordable for our clients, so that you can have that kind of right from the get-go. So I definitely will pass on your thoughts to, to the rest of the team. I know in the beginning too, you had mentioned earlier, when we sat down and strategized a little bit about, where do we see, when we were putting together the system, right? Where do you see yourselves in, like, 3 years, 5 years, and those, very traditional metrics, right? When we were going through and looking at that, we had a conversation regarding statistical accounts. And, what a statistical account is, for those that don't know, is basically an item that you're tracking within your business that's not financial related. So where you guys were concerned, it was, hey, if we could see how many gallons of paint we sell, right? And a lot of times POS systems will provide a lot of that information to you. But what we were looking to accomplish was, when we built your financial dashboards, right, we said, how valuable would it be if we could take some of this information from your POS system and put it in one spot for you? So you could see your P&L, and you can see your sales numbers, but now you can also see how many gallons of paint did you sell related to those, sales numbers. Is that, how has that helped you? Is that a big metric, to be able to have those dashboards? How valuable is that type of reporting, where we can give you charts, graphs, in addition to the very traditional balance sheet, profit and loss statement?
You have so many tools, you forget about some of those things, but the dashboard you built for us, where what we were used to in our 20 years of world-class reporting, and you get into small business and you realize how much effort and time and money actually goes into getting you the reports, and your sales per full-time equivalent, and your gallon growth, and your profit, and your cash flow, and your working capital, and all these things, they take a lot of time to build, and the ability to, in real time, or within a day or so, I don't want to but
yeah.
nearly near time. I mean, a lot faster than I was ever getting it done when I was using QuickBooks, and never anywhere close to the outcome. But to see how we're doing versus a previous time period, to see what our cash flow, our cash on hand looks like, our profit at that given time, our sales, our sales per full time, our number of people. And with 3 stores, you're not in all 3 stores at the same time, obviously, but the ability to just get a quick snapshot on a dashboard, and really a 3 to 5 minute look at it, and you could tell, just about anybody that could read it could tell, colorize how they're doing from the metrics on that dashboard. So it is powerful. I can't speak to how powerful it is enough.
Oh, great. So, and yesterday, right, and one of our last topics we want to cover today is yesterday, ironically, I was on a call with a different client and a banker and their banker, and the topic of fraud prevention came up and how to, increase their internal controls and how to try to minimize any risk to that company. So, when we discussed with that banker what our bill payment process was and how we utilized, bill.com for that, they basically, were very excited and ecstatic to see that, we were already utilizing a company like that offered some additional, fraud protection, as opposed to, sending their checks out into the world with their routing numbers and their account numbers on them. So how would you explain, how we've been able to help you reduce your risk, and by utilizing, VAS to help watch over your books?
So I got a business partner, Donnie, and some family members and some people that have worked for me for a long time in different capacities. So there was a high trust factor when we started this with some of the people we brought in. And I apologize, we're in the back of a store, so
You're fine.
Should have led with that. But as we grow and bring in people that you don't know, and you start dealing with vendors on a different level and spending more money. And I remember, one of the first checks I actually hand wrote, my hand was shaking because I'd never wrote a check that big before. And now it's old hat. But the amount of eyes that go through our payable. So we got our store managers that are submitting the bills. They go through bill.com. There's 2 people that approve them, so they can look and see, and if there's something odd, we catch it and we say, this doesn't look right. You have your team looking at it. I mean, the other day I submitted a $1,400, I bought a new laptop, and the way we have it set up is we're very transparent. And one of your team members emailed my business partner and said, Mike spent $1,400 on a new laptop. Did you know? And of course he knew, but the fact that we're looking, the ability to grab a mobile device for probably 5 or 6 members on our team and look through and pour through bills or expense reports or invoices or money going out. There's so many eyes on it that it would be hard. I won't pretend that it could never happen, but
right.
It would be really hard to have anything go on for a long period of time without somebody catching an anomaly. And your group has caught them on invoice, even vendors that the invoice doesn't look right. Your people have said, this doesn't seem right, or who is this and what did we do? So, and that is another credit you guys have done for our business. You guys have dug deep into the painting and decor business itself to try and understand what we do and how we do it. And so it's not just a numbers. You understand the seasonality of our business. You understand what we're trying to do and how we work and how we, similar with hardware stores. And you've brought a lot of value to our company in that way too. So.
Well, thank you for that. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day and standing in the back of your store to, be able to have these conversations. I think they're so valuable for people to understand kind of what is out there for them from a service standpoint and how they should focus, really look at their strengths and focus on their business and, use professionals for those areas that are going to deter you from generating more revenues and from being able to grow your business. So, I guess lastly, do you have any advice that you might give to, those that are on this call or that are thinking about, contracting their accounting services to a professional?
Well, I'm very, if you ask anyone, I'm the pessimistic cash flow guy, and I'm always nervous about spending money, and especially if we can do it ourselves. I would be the first to say, let's just do it ourselves, no matter how painful or how hard it is. And I think in the first year of our company, electing to go with a professional to handle this is in hindsight one of the best decisions we ever made. And once we got past the initial shock of what it was going to cost us, and I'll say that is, you built it for a 6 to 8 store
Right.
business chain for 8 to 10 years down the road. So there was some upfront money in the foundation that, as long as we execute on our plan, would make a lot of sense in the long term. In the short term, some of our vendors were like, "What are you doing?" When they get the P&L, and of course they've probably heard it all before from a lot of people and didn't really trust that we were. But once we got to 2, 3 stores, that money started to make a lot of sense. And I would say do it. The ability to know where you are at any given point in time from a financial point of view, and to know where you're headed, what's the trend. I'm looking forward to getting some historical information and be able to do budgeting and forecasting. And really, it's tough with 3 stores in 4 years. The numbers and the growth are through the roof, so it's not real yet. But using a professional, especially if it's not what you're good at, it's worth every dime and then some. And once you get over that initial, we're going to have to spend some money that we didn't anticipate because we just thought it was, QuickBooks. It's money well spent because it allows you to really truly grow and do what you love to do.
Well, thank you so much for all of your time today and for, helping explain our services a little bit more and how they've benefited you guys over the years. I know that, now that we're starting to build that, 4 years, we start having some decent trends. We're starting to build, additional dashboards and additional metrics on trending for you. So now we can start looking at some of that stuff. So it is always a phased approach, right? And it's always being adjusted and tweaked and looked at and evaluated and changed, and it's very fluid. So I am, thank you for working with us. You're, definitely a favorite account of mine to work on a daily basis. So
Yep.
I will take a look at, I'm actually going to stop sharing for a minute because I need to get to my Q&A. We have a couple minutes for questions. And so one of the questions out there is, does VAS handle payroll and taxes and benefits? And we typically subcontract or outsource the payroll. I do not have, by choice, I guess, I do not have payroll experts necessarily on staff. We do handle all of the sales taxes for all of the different states, that we need to be, experts in, or that we've had experience with over the years. But we do usually subcontract out, or companies will use a payroll service such as ADP or a local company if there's a local one that we like that's, bonded and well insured. We do usually outsource them and work with a handful of those that do integrate with our system pretty well. So we usually do that. But we do have an HR outsourcing division. So we can handle conversations on benefits and other parts. It's not my area of specialty, but we do have those experts and staff. And I see one more. As far as there was a question out there to, do we use QuickBooks? We do definitely have QuickBooks clients. I think in this world, QuickBooks has such a hold on small businesses that it's hard to not use QuickBooks. It's not in the VAS division of BST and outsourcing. QuickBooks is not necessarily our first choice because it depends. We really try to sit down with a client and look at their long range strategy and try to see what software would be appropriate for their strategy going forward. So it's not that we won't use it, it's that we usually try to put a system together that will be all accommodating to the client on a more long-term session. Because to just use QuickBooks for a couple of years while you're growing your company, only to outgrow it at some point, doesn't necessarily help the client long-term. So we do try to evaluate, what those needs are more on a long-term scale. Are your services available nationwide? Yes, they are. And we do have resources to be able to offer services in Canada as well. The software that we utilize does have multi-currency in it. So we can definitely accommodate multi-currency, and we do have resources that will be able to assist in Canada. So yes. Do you have the ability to work with Viewpoint? I'm not actually all that familiar with Viewpoint. Can you elaborate? Is it a POS system? Is it a CRM? I certainly can look into that offline and send you an email, Mike, as to, you know, how I would envision working with other POS systems. One of the nice part about how we built, right, our tech deck is that at the hub of that is really a software that has what's called an open API. And it allows us to be able to export and import into it very easily, or to build a direct automation where it will automatically import. So I'm pretty sure that there's a way to work with it once I learn a little bit more about it. If it's a project management system, then, you know, there is projects within the software that we have, but we certainly could, you know, look at an import, export, you know, or export import process as well. Just depends on the software. And then I think the last question that we'll take, because we are running a few minutes over, is the program one size fits all, or do we work with what our needs are? I mean, I think as Mike kind of alluded to during the whole, you know, we work with you guys really hand in hand. We try to scale the services to what the needs are of the company, and try to, you know, be looking into the future a little bit to say, what can we accommodate now? What can we phase in over time? How do we handle things? So it's not at all a one size fits all. It is definitely tailored to whatever the specific needs are of the company. So Mike, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to talk with us. And I'm sure that we'll be speaking soon, as we're prime and month end right now. We should have numbers within a day or so.
My pleasure, and you guys have been great to work with, so we enjoy doing it. So thank you.
Thank you so much.